So you're from a region that was firsthand devastated by the money lizard Sackler family, right?
Yes.
Which which Purdue Pharma and everything that happened with Oxycontin, like over 500,000 people died at the hands of them.
Yeah.
And
big problem.
yeah, unbelievable, right? And it compromised, they used loopholes, all types of stuff to be able to keep that company going, right? And really to keep killing people. I mean, it seemed undeniable at a certain point that they were murderers.
It was legalized drug dealing is what it was on an industrial scale. I mean, made billions and billions of dollars.
They just got like a slap on the they got a financial slap on the wrist, right?
Very tiny.
But why can't we? Shouldn't they be kicked out of our country? It feels like if we can let in 20 million people into our country, right? That shouldn't be here, or that are not vetted properly to be here.
Don't have the legal right to be here,
right?
I agree. I would say they shouldn't be here, but
why can't we put those motherfuckers on a boat and send them back to wherever the fuck they came from?
That's a good question, man. Look, I think that frankly,
and I don't mean that angrily at you, but it's like,
no, man, I'm pissed off about it too.
Like, at what point do people lose the opportunity to be here? It seemed like if you killed 500,000 people, you wouldn't be able to hang out anymore.
Or maybe at least you should have a criminal investigation, right? Because that's the thing that's I mean, like the Sackler family clearly got rich off of an extraordinary amount of human misery and death.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where are they from? Bring it up real quick.
I want to say they're from New York, maybe, or they're from the Northeast. I'm pretty sure.
The Sackler family originated from Galicia in Poland, and their ancestors were Jewish immigrants. Isaac Sackler.
Brooklyn, New York.
Oh, and then they lived in Brooklyn, New York.
Yeah, that's why I thought they were from New York, Connecticut. I mean, look, the thing that I've never understood about them is that they did get fined, but the fine was such a tiny amount.
It was a couple billion
compared
bucks
to what
right?
but they made tens and tens of billions of dollars. I mean, these guys were absolutely rolling in the dough. But they, why isn't there a criminal investigation into this, right? Like, if I sold drugs on the street and some person has an overdose and died, you can get felony prosecuted for that, or at least investigated for it. And there was never a criminal, at least as I understand it, never a criminal investigation into what was known.
Yeah, I think they had to breach a plea deal of some sort.
Okay.
As the nation continues to grapple with the Sackler family had agreed to pay $6 billion to families and states as part of an agreement to wind down Purdue Pharma, the maker of Oxycontin. In exchange, the Sackler family would be immunized from future civil liability claims. Unreal.
Because here's my understanding about it. And I by the way, I think that you always got to be worried about this stuff when you're the child of addiction. Is are there, whether it's drugs, alcohol, whatever, you're worried about making sure you do yourself don't get hooked on anything, right? Like, I had a minor surgery once, and a very minor surgery, and I was prescribed Oxycontin, and I took it for 12 hours.
Got any left? Sorry.
No, because of my wife, because of what I'm about to tell you.
Okay.
And my wife, who was giving me my meds, she was like, "Hey, you ready for your next dose?" And I was like, "Yeah, the pain's not really that bad anymore. I don't really want to take one. But yeah, just give me one because I feel really good when I take it." And then she and I both had this moment of realization, oh shit, right? That is where this whole thing starts. Wow. So she, took it to wherever, some disposal site, and we got rid of it, and that was it. But the problem with Oxycontin, as I understand it at least, is that it's supposed to be delayed release oxycodone. But, the problem that is people figured out, if you just crush it up, then you can just get it all at once.
All released right now.
All released right now. And then the Sackler family, as I understand it, knew about it, right? Purdue Pharma knew this was going on, and they should have been like, oh, no, okay, we're going to stop this because people are getting killed by overdosing on this stuff because they're taking too high of a dose, and they didn't do anything.
Yeah.
That is my understanding fundamentally of what happened is they didn't want to stop it because they were getting rich from it. So it's really gross.
I just couldn't imagine that. Imagine people dying and you're making money, but people are dying. Family. The ripple effect of that in this country is still haunting people.
Absolutely. And that's where the heroin epidemic, which is now a fentanyl epidemic, came from. It started
there
as a pill epidemic.
Yeah.
And it actually was, I always used to think it was okay, kind of like me, oh, you have a surgery and you get too many drugs and then eventually you get hooked. What it actually was is they were overprescribing it so much that it was just everywhere.
Yeah.
Right. And so your nephew comes over and he's 17 and he takes some to his buddies and now they're all hooked on Oxy. And that's like that's what actually happened. And there was just so much of this drug everywhere that it started the epidemic we have now.
Yeah. And the outside, it was like candy coat. It was like you just had to slurp off the outside a little bit, right. And then you could party.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, I think you just had to slurp.
I heard about people crushing. I didn't know if you just had to slurp off the outside.
Yeah, I think you did. And